Breaking news, the latest poll that shows yet again Republicans at risk of being shut out of the top two slots in the governor's race, meaning you'll be forced to choose between two liberal Democrats in November. We've got the latest analysis. Also, arrests across the state and an FBI raid, all related to government fraud, corruption. But there's no problem to see here. No. Gavin Newsom, Democrats running a very clean operation, right? All that and more coming up. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state representative. And the latest news today is on two fronts. First, we are going to get into the FBI raid in Los Angeles at the home and various offices associated with Gavin Newsom's favorite school superintendent for the LA Unified School District. We also have a number of other arrests around the state. It's almost like, pick a day, there's another scandal involving misappropriation, yes, of your taxpayer money. What's going on in California is worse than what's going on in Minnesota. But first, we start out with the very alarming data on the California governor's race. Just remember that in California, we don't have primaries anymore. So we don't have an opportunity as Republicans to look at different candidates and then amongst Republican voters select which candidate we would like to represent us in the general election. That was done away with by dark money and special interest groups about a decade ago through something called Prop 14. Prop 14 changed our voting rules so that the top two vote getters, irrespective of their party, regardless of their party, in the primary, the top two vote getters will emerge into the general, and only those two names can be placed on the general election ballot. And so in previous years, Republicans have split the vote in key statewide races and local races for that matter. And then they've been shut out. Democrats are far more united. They're very strategic. And when they say it's time to circle the wagon and support this one candidate, they do it. I've seen it before, time and time again, whereas Republicans, well, they like to shoot each other in the you-know-what. So we've got a situation here where we've got two very good candidates, Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco. I might have quibbles with each of them, but they're good men. And I would love to see either one of them as governor, but we are going to have to get behind one of them in the primary. And I want you to sound off in the comment section below. Let me know who you're leaning towards. I did two interviews, one with each of them about a month ago. And so check out our previous podcasts on that and let me know, who do you think Reform California ought to support? Because we're going to be forced to have to endorse one and try to unite our side behind that one candidate. So here's the latest polling, PPIC polling. And this poll is a little center left, but it's one of the more accurate polls in the state of California. And they did a poll in the governor's race. And if you notice, all of the names are basically clumped together. Four names at the very top, or five actually. Steve Hilton, 14%. Katie Porter, 13%. Chad Bianco, 12%. Eric Swalwell, 11%. Tom Steyer, 10%. With the rest of the cat and dog candidates all down in low single digits. I want to talk about these numbers. First, it doesn't matter that Steve Hilton has 2 percentage points more than Chad Bianco. I looked at the actual polling instrument, and the ballot titles are not included in this poll. Chad Bianco's ballot title of Riverside Sheriff is more impressive to a lot of Republican voters than businessman that Steve Hilton will use. And so I do think that it's a jump ball between the two of them. They're roughly splitting the support base. But the problem we're having here, look at these other Democrats. Porter, 13%, Swalwell, 11%, Steyer, 10%. My concern is if there's any doubt on Democrats in, let's say, the first week of May, that they might, get shut out by Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco, damn well that the big titans in the Democrat Party, Newsom, Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, the whole gaggle of them will all unite behind whichever Democrat is necessary, if not two. And there's a high likelihood that we're going to get shut out of this race. I am alarmed by what I'm seeing here. And what I care about is making sure that we have a good candidate in the runoff. If we don't get a good candidate in the runoff, we have no shot of making our case that California is screwed up and corrupt and high cost of living. All those issues will be glossed over. And two Democrats will basically run to the far left as to which one of them hates Trump more. And, that's not going to help us solve problems in California. So getting our candidate, one of our candidates, into the runoff is our goal. The polling shows a similar picture. So it's not just PPIC. We're seeing a whole raft of polls showing that the field is completely unsettled at this point. This the Independent Voter News poll showing Bianco at 23% and Hilton at 15%. I think this is a little too hot for Bianco. I do think that it's kind of 50-50. Emerson shows, Hilton ahead by 3 points. So does FM3 Research by 1 point. But basically, it's neck and neck, folks. And this is, again, very concerning. So what we look at over here is the crowding of these Democrats. And the likelihood is that as Democrats, the undecided vote, which is mainly Democrat right now in the picture, as they start deciding for these candidates, as Democrats fear that they're going to be shut out, you're going to see some consolidation. At Reform California, we've got to get our voter guide out. And if you go to our website, reformcalifornia.org, you can check out our voter guide as it's coming together real time. If you notice here, we've got our statewide candidates, and we've got endorsement pending. Take our poll, Chad Bianco or Steve Hilton, or just sound off in the remarks below. We already have Lieutenant Governor Gloria Romero, Attorney General Michael Gates, Don Wagner for Secretary of State. We have Jen Hawks for Treasurer, so it'll be updated soon, but we've endorsed her in the past week. Herb Morgan for Comptroller, Insurance Commissioner Stacey Korsgaden, and Sonia Shaw for Public Instruction. These candidates, we have got to get them across the finish line. And I think we can get a whole slate into the November election. We also have other endorsements for every race from Congress down to state legislature. And then, of course, notice that we do have local voter guides. So you'll be able to go and check out all the local races in your area as well. Now, the voter guides are literally skeleton structures right now because we wait in a lot of races until the filing deadline, which is March 6th, to finalize our endorsements of candidates to make sure that we're uniting behind the most conservative, fighting-oriented candidate. We don't want wishy-washy, go along, get along candidates. While you're at that website, please chip in a contribution, help put gas in our tank so that we can actually cover the postage and the promotions on the voter guides. Look, one of the top issues in the polling for the state of California is the issue of cost of living. Here is a PPIC poll. What is the most important issue? Cost of living, economy, inflation, jobs, followed by cost of living, housing costs. So that's 43% of respondents are talking about the issue of affordability. Now, what's not asked in here, and I think that PPIC is missing out, is they didn't ask about corruption. I've seen other polls, including a Democrat poll that I shared with you on this show about a month ago, showing that public corruption is spiking as a concern, particularly in light of what we're seeing in the Minnesota bombshell revelations. I'm telling you, Minnesota, it's chump change compared to the waste, fraud, and abuse happening here in the state of California. You and I both know that. And now we see the feds and law enforcement starting to go after misappropriation of public funds. This all happened just in the last week, starting in San Diego. SoCal nonprofit execs spent thousands of dollars of public money to lift her, tighten her tummy, DA says. This is a nonprofit executive with the Harm Reduction SD group, all about, let's give out money to these drug addicts, including needles. Let's encourage that they continue to use drugs, but offer them off ramps to a sober living style. No, tough love and rules are required to break addiction, not, hey, well, here's a pamphlet. What do you think? This is why all the money that we're throwing there ends up getting grifted and wasted. That was in San Diego. Then up in the Bay Area, former San Francisco nonprofit CEO charged with misappropriating $1.2 million in public funds. And this is a homeless provider. Remember, we spent $24 billion under Gavin Newsom on homelessness programs since 2018. They refused to audit it. But a lot of this stuff is wasted and stolen. And then we've got this. Just yesterday, FBI raids LA Unified School District Superintendent Alberto Carvalho's home and office. All appears to be tied to some suspicious activity around a contract that he was involved in for an AI chatbot for the school district. So everywhere you look, there are allegations of misappropriation. There's also all this money being spent with almost no result. The reason why this is all coming together now is that Trump and the FBI, they're going into overdrive to hold these Democrats accountable. We have not seen any care by the Biden administration previously, or Lord forbid, state and local law enforcement to go after public corruption. There's been some exceptions to that rule. But now with the Trump administration really cracking down on fraud and abuse, this is going to be more and more in the news cycle. And that's why I believe that as we back candidates for office, two top issues: cost of living, fighting corruption, making sure we hold government accountable for results. But if you can't get a gubernatorial candidate in the runoff, what difference does it make? We're not going to have an opportunity to convey our message and hold the Democrats accountable for their failures and corruption. So go to that website, reformcalifornia.org, chip in a contribution. Also, if you're not already signed up, go to the bottom of the website and sign up so that you're tethered into our growing movement. We'll be able to get you the voter guide in the first week of May when your ballot arrives by email and text. We do not share or sell information, so please start the conversation with us. Tether yourself into this growing movement. Bottom of the website, reformcalifornia.org, first name, last name, email, phone, and zip code. We'll be issuing an endorsement soon in the governor's race and making sure we update the endorsements in all the other races on your ballot. Until next time, I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state representative. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state.